So right now, because I was talking to Mikey, right? You
Uh-huh.
know, a little while back, and so since he bought his original property, you know, prices have gone up, rates have gone up, and so the analysis to figure out how the numbers work to cash flow, it's like really at the end of the day, with where rates are, you have to have get it at a lower price to be able to make the numbers work, and then you have like kind of all this talk and craze about the seller financing and getting in with little money in your pocket and whatnot. Um, is that something that you're seeing people do in that area in Pittsburgh of scooping up some properties with maybe having a seller take on some seller financing and maybe creative structuring and da da da?
Oh yeah. I think that's, kind of the hot thing going on in real estate right now is people are trying to make deals work and creative finance, seller financing, sub two. Those are the things that a lot of people are trying to take advantage of because like you're saying, it's definitely hard to make a lot of the numbers work right now with higher rates, property taxes going up, insurance going up. So for a lot of people, the numbers just don't work. So actually, like if you're a um primary or looking for a first time home buyer, even though rates are high, you have a good chance in this market if it makes sense for you because a lot of investors are on the sidelines. So you don't have a lot of competition. So if you're looking to buy, your first home, now's a good time to actually get in if everything makes sense for you, your income and your credit and your job stability and all of that makes sense. Prices are high, rates are high, but you just don't have the competition out there. And the past few years, a lot of first time home buyers, I think, were getting priced out just from all the investors, and the numbers were a lot easier to make sense. So there was a lot of investor purchases also.
Yeah, totally agree. Like if you're on an upward income trajectory and you're in the earlier part of your journey, 20s or 30s or whatever, and you want to get in the game and that's something that's important to you, like now could be a great time, as you mentioned. I mean, it gets me excited to hear about that, because shit, competition, people going 100K, 40K over list price in 2021, and now it's not really happening. Maybe in a few different geographic areas, it's still happening, but when I get in the game,
Yeah. Yeah.
sharpen your tool, you know.
Yeah, like you said, as long as everything makes sense, right? Your income is good, your credit is good, you're not
Hmm.
going through a divorce or anything, and maybe having a kid coming that could maybe throw a wrench into plans. But if you have things are pretty stable and it makes sense, then yeah, I mean now could be a great time, just like I said, there's just not a lot of competition out there.
Well, before we got on the call, you were talking about the number of sales in your area down 15 or 20%, right?
Yep.
How would you describe the changing of are rents going up in your area? Like
Yeah,
long
yeah.
long term rents?
Yeah, Hawaii is kind of an outlier, I think, so we're a very unique market. So, sales transactions have gone down quite a bit, but prices are still stable for, like single family homes is still over 1 million, the median price, and condo prices, the median is still actually going up. It's probably about 530K right now for a condo in Hawaii.
Wow.
So even though transactions are going down, people still um want to live here. People still like to place money here. So there's still a lot of cash buyers that, because we do have low property taxes. I mean, even though outside investors do pay a little bit higher tax rate, but the property taxes are still fairly low here. And, it's a good place to park your money a lot of times.
So let's say you buy $1 million property. What are the taxes? Our ballpark.
Shoes for resident, I mean, you're one of the lowest. I want to say it's one like under 1% or like 0.8 or 1%. Yeah, but it's one of the lowest in the country. So that's why a lot of people, yeah, the prices are high, but your property taxes
So
are,
like
are
10
fairly
grand, or like is it based
no, not
on the
even, not even.
structure, the like how they assess the structure of the land? What's an example?
Um, let's see. I can't because mine's escrowed, so I'm trying to think what my property tax. Uh, it might be about shoot, was it 14,000 on a $1.4 million home? No, that's yeah, around there.
So really
Maybe.
maybe around 1%. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because like I have a client who purchased um their fourth their fourth house in Texas. Um and kind of that stair step method, was part of his journey. And like I think the purchase price was like, I don't know, $600,000. And this is Houston. And like his taxes are like $16,000. It's like
yeah,
more than 2%. And you have different municipalities and this and that. It's like, gee, man. So there's no state income tax. That's cool. That's great. But you're paying,
yeah.
bajillion dollars for property taxes. So it's crazy.
That's why I tell people too a lot of times is there's no perfect market to invest in. I mean, like you say, property taxes might be low somewhere, but income taxes could be super high in that area.
Hmm.
So they'll get you one way or another, right? So
Yeah, it's coming from somewhere. Like, and same thing with Florida, right? Like no state income tax, but like every time you do a mortgage transaction, just like you were saying in Pittsburgh, you're going to have two sets of transfer taxes assessed. So on a purchase, on a refi, all that money is going to the county and the state. It's like
yeah,
they're getting it from somewhere.
and the
Just
insurance is really high in Florida. So and just like I
yeah.
said, I mean that's not.
These are like deep, deep wounds, deep
Yes,
wounds,
I
man.
know, but like I try to tell people, and I think that's why so many people like the whole LLC thing too, right? It's just another thing that delays you from getting started, right? You're trying to figure out how to set up this structure. Should you use an LLC? And even trying to pick a market, right? You're trying to find this almighty market that hits all these criteria, but then you don't realize like there's a lot of great markets out there. And yes, some are better, slightly better than others, but they all kind of have their pros and cons. And it's other factors, right? Like we talk about a lot is, having a network there, having boots on the ground, or if you feel more comfortable investing in your backyard, that's something you might want to do. But there's no great market that just covers everything where and if it was, that's where everybody would be investing. So as a new investor, you'd probably have a hard time getting in anyways.
Yeah. If you could do one thing different 10 years ago, what would you do different?
Besides all the obvious of, starting earlier and those type of things, I think for me, it would be kind of, I guess, leveraging what I had better. I just really was too complacent with what I already had. And I just thought like, um, I don't know if a scarcity mindset is the right way to put it, but it was more like I didn't see the need for abundance, I guess. And I thought like, having a primary residence, having a pension, having, a stable job, and that was enough, right? And then now I see that it's good. It's not a problem. It's just there's so much more opportunities out there, and a better like time freedom, right? Yeah, you have these things, but how much more could you be doing with your time or enjoying your life? And we always talk about, if you don't need to retire at 65 and you can retire at 55, maybe that should be the goal, right? And I think that for me, that's all it is I just really got kind of caught up down this path of complacency. And if I was to utilize what I had more and be more educated on how to leverage things. And I'm not saying be risky and just, leverage everything, but do it calculated and have a plan. And yeah, I wasted a lot of opportunities, I think.
Yeah, that makes total
Well,
sense.
what about you? I mean, you got started around the same time, I think 2008, I think, is your
Yeah,
primary, yeah, around
2009.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no
Yeah.
clue what I was doing. I didn't know like the housing market was crashing. I mean, I was buying a condo and I didn't know what was going on in the rest of the world. I was like, I didn't know I was being risky.
Yeah. I the Rich Dad Poor Dad books, some stuff that I read. I didn't understand the formula. I didn't get it. I didn't have that either understanding or vision of what real estate could be. And like I was, I put my first investments into the stock market with an advisor in 2007. I started making some money in 2007 and then saw it just plummet. And like that always just stuck with me. So like I was always hesitant on just leaving the money in the market. So I started doing some trading along the way and lost money. And it's like, if I could rewind the clock, which I know you can't do, I really wish I would have sought out a mentor in the real estate side of things, which I don't even know how I would have been able to really kind of make it click at that point. But like, man, it's such a slow game. And then once the wheels start to turn, it's like, oh shit, things start to happen fast in terms of appreciation and compounding of your mortgages getting paid down. And it's like I could have done different things differently by planting a few more seeds. And I wish I could have found a mentor that was in the real estate game to be able to really have a better understanding of what was going on. Because the pieces just had not been put together in terms of how it all fits. And that's the thing that kind of sucks.
Yeah, when I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I had no clue what was going on back then, so I don't know if there was a lot of. I'm sure there was people investing. There's always people investing, but I don't think it would have been like today where you see a lot of people that are pushing for financial freedom and financial literacy and whatnot. Because just from me thinking about it and looking back, I would think that, well, especially in Hawaii, I mean, so much people here are house rich that everybody was doing the same. Well, not everybody, but majority of the people are doing a lot of the same things where their house is their biggest, where their worth is, their asset is. And like that's what my parents did, their parents did. And especially when interest rates were like 18%, it was probably beneficial for you to try to pay down that mortgage a lot quicker. So I think maybe that's where the mindset came from. I just saw, you kind of just see what your parents are doing or your family members are doing, and you get caught up in that. And it's not wrong by any means. I mean, paying off your mortgage is still has a lot of benefits to it. It's not wrong. It's just that's kind of what I was accustomed to, and that's what I saw. So that's kind of what I thought was the right way to do things. But now that I see things differently, and there definitely times are different now, rates are a lot lower and people want to be a little more mobile, and people don't want to live in the same place for maybe 30, 40 years. But you just I don't know if that many people I would have had access to that many mentors back then, though, I think.
Yeah.